I'm here.
All right, coming in 3, 2, 1. And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And one of the sidebars, I guess, to come out of no legal pun intended, to come out of the George Zimmerman trial is Rachel Jeantel and the thrusting of her into the limelight. I mean, she started off doing Pierce Morgan, I guess. She's done several other shows. She was with Al Sharpton yesterday. And joining us now is the attorney for Rachel Jeantel, Rod Vereen. Hey, Rod, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How's everything?
Good. I'm okay. You know, I find this whole thing to be hard to describe. I think it's unfortunate that she has her speech impediment, and I understand what she was talking about with her palate and all that kind of stuff. But all that aside, you know, let me just tell you what struck me first about your client when she was on the witness stand. Attitude. And I've talked to several people. I think it's my opinion that if Rachel Jeantel had been white, the judge, or even as a black young lady, another judge might have said to her, excuse me, you show respect in this court or you'll be charged with contempt. I mean, making faces, having an attitude, that's just not acceptable in a court of law. I don't understand how that did not occur.
Well, let me tell you the backdrop of what took place. You have to remember, Rachel is a witness who did not ask to be there.
Well, what do you mean? Time out. What do you mean she did not have to be there? If she's subpoenaed, she has to show up.
No, that's not what I said. I said who did not ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad hearing. Okay.
She did not ask to be there. There was a history between she and Don West during the depositions that had taken place in the past, and she is not somebody who understands the adversarial nature of a courtroom, and that's one of the reasons why they brought me in, even at the late hour that they did, because the individuals that had been preparing her for purposes of going to Sanford to testify, I'm not talking about the individuals with the state attorney's office, but the people that were getting her ready with regard to her clothing and things of that nature who worked for a church, had spoke to me and said, we don't think she really understands what's going to take place when she walks into the courtroom. She doesn't understand the procedure, how the lawyers are going to come at her, because my understanding was that the state attorney's office really did not sit her down and prepare her for what was getting ready to take place. And so when she had gone into the deposition, she said Don West literally tried to beat her up in these depositions for hours.
Well, wait, you don't mean literally tried to beat her up. That would have meant he would try to punch her. You mean figuratively tried to beat her up?
Yeah, verbally.
Yeah. Okay.
And listen, I've been a prosecutor, I've been a professor, I've been a federal public defender, and I've been a defense attorney out here in the private sector since 1995. That is the job of the lawyer. Okay, but when a person has never been through that before, they don't understand that that's what the lawyers are supposed to be doing. And so she took offense to it. So when she came in contact with Mr. West again, that's what the jury saw. And as far as the judge saying, holding her in contempt, well, the judge is not going to do that. Okay.
Well, why do you say that?
Well, because nothing she did was contemptuous in a legal sense of you can hold somebody in contempt. I mean, listen, Dr. Bow was the medical examiner who was an expert, professionally trained, and knows how to testify. And he was doing practically the same thing, if you will, in the professional sense of, this jousting back and forth with the prosecutors, with the defense attorney saying, you're not going to put words in my mouth. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to, he's talking over the judge. The judge had to pull his reins back on numerous occasions.
All right, well, he was a bit of a, I don't know how, he was an airhead to me. I don't know what he was even doing on the stand, but it just struck me. I don't want to spend the whole interview on this, but it just struck me, shouting out, what? And the attitude and the making faces, I just never saw that in a courtroom before in my life. And I've seen people held or warned about that kind of behavior for much less behavior.
Listen, I've been in courtrooms for 23 years, and that was nothing compared to what I've seen.
All right. Okay, fair enough. All right, so let's move on. After the first day of testimony, her demeanor changed a little bit, and she was even asked about it by the defense. Did anybody give you advice or tell you how to act? And she said, no, I went home to sleep. When were you brought in? When did you talk to her? And did anybody talk to her after her first day of testing, between the first day and the second day.
No, what happened before she went to go testify, and Rachel gets her words confused sometimes, but before she went to testify the first day, okay, I was trying to decide. I said, more likely than not, Don West will be the lawyer that comes after you, who will try to cross-examine you. I said, be calm, answer the questions, yes, sir, no, sir, when you can. I said, because the prosecution is going to question you first. And I said, they're going to be a lot more friendlier than the defense is going to be. Try to listen to the questions. Think about what they're asking you before you start to answer. Do not elaborate unless you're asked to elaborate.
Right.
Or if you think you need to explain an answer, then you explain an answer. I said, if you try to explain and they interrupt you, don't speak over them, because the court reporter needs to take down.
Right, but you didn't speak to her after the first day, before the second day?
After the first day, her instructions were, because she was with the FDLE agents, okay, her instructions were, get you some dinner. We made sure she had something to eat. Go to your room, relax, and come back tomorrow and be ready to go back on that stand. You should not be on there any more than probably an hour.
All right, we're talking to Rod Vereen, the attorney for Rachel Jeantel, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I want you to hear a soundbite from a recent interview. I guess it was from Pierce Morgan. Cut 12. Here it is, Will.
They don't understand. They understand he was just bashed or he was killed. When somebody bashed somebody, like blood people, trust me, in the era I live, that's not bashing. That's just called whoop ass. You just got your ass whooped. That's what it is.
Would Trayvon, if he had been attacked or had been confronted and he was scared, would he have whooped ass, as you put it?
Whoop ass.
Okay. So she admitted that that Trayvon, if he was scared or confronted, not necessarily hit first, would whoop ass.
Well, I think
she basically, it's a good thing she didn't say that on the stand, I guess.
Okay, well, Steve, listen. First of all, she wasn't there. Okay, she can only go by what she heard.
She knows him, though. She was asked what type of kid is he. What would he do if he was confronted or whatever? And she said he would whoop ass.
You want to argue over me, or you want to give me a chance?
No, go ahead. I know she wasn't there, but that wasn't the question. Were you there?
Are you going to allow me to answer?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. What she said is what anybody would do. Somebody confronts you, and they appear that they're going to be aggressive. Somebody's following you at the wee hours of the night, get out of the vehicle, and come following you on foot. I think any person in any situation, black, white, or Hispanic, would feel threatened and would feel that if my life is in danger, I'm going to strike first. So whether Trayvon was hit first or struck first doesn't matter in this situation.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh, it doesn't? But the
doesn't.
Prosecution said that George Zimmerman hit first.
I don't care what the prosecution says. I'm not the prosecution. I'm just telling you what I would do in the situation somebody gets out of the vehicle.
So if someone legally goes up to you in the street and you know they've been following you for a few blocks, you're going to strike first?
If I feel my life is in danger, you damn straight I will.
Okay. Based on what would you feel your life was? Would Trayvon feel his life was in danger?
I'm not Trayvon. Okay, and Trayvon's not here to speak for himself. George Zimmerman killed him.
All right. Next question. Okay. Yesterday, I forget what show it was. Your client said that Rush Limbaugh was acting racist by saying N-I-G-G-A. Just the other day, she went through a whole litany, a history lesson, if you will, on the N-word or words, and told the world how in 2000, N-I-G-G-A isn't racist anymore. Anybody could say it about any man. A Chinese, she said, could say it about a friend of his. Anybody. But when Rush Limbaugh said it, all of a sudden he was racist. So figure this out for me. Is N-I-G-G-A racist, or is N-I-G-G-A, as compared, of course, to N-I-G-G-E-R, which is racist, is N-I-G-G-A only racist when Rush Limbaugh says it, or is she doesn't even know what she's talking about?
Well, let me just say this. Teens say things that they one day grow up to regret. Ask Paula Deen about it, okay? Now, Rush Limbaugh wants to come out and call a black person an N-I-G-G-A.
He didn't call anybody that, sir. He didn't call anybody that.
Well, Rush Limbaugh will suffer whatever consequences that the hearer of those words do. So,
is according to your client?
My client does not speak for all black America. Okay.
Well, she gave us the date. She gave us the date. She said 2000. It all changed.
That's the vernacular that some of these young folks use, albeit ignorant as it may be. All right, but I'm just telling you that none of my friends use the word. I do not tolerate anybody calling me that, and I dare somebody to call me that.
All right, is there a difference in your opinion? Okay.
That if Rush Limbaugh wants to go out there and call an African American,
He didn't do that, sir. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. He didn't do that.
If that's what Rush Limbaugh wants to do, then Rush Limbaugh will come
okay, well, he didn't do that. As usual, you're misrepresenting the facts. He did. All right, hang up. I can't. I won't put up with this. Goodbye. Thank you. I asked him a question. His client, in an ingenious fashion, in a professorial manner of presenting history, told us all on Piers Morgan that around 2000, the year 2000, it changed. Everybody, she said, everybody. N-I-G-G-A, but she said the word, which I have permission to play, but I don't want to play it. N-I-G-G-A is different than the word ending in E-R. And N-I-G-G-A is about any man. It's not racial. Then yesterday, after Rush Limbaugh quoted her and said the word, they played it for her, him saying the word, not calling a black man that word, as my previous guest so disingenuously insinuated. but she all of a sudden, when she heard Rush Limbaugh say it, quoting her, it's racist. I think Rachel Jeantel, this 3.0 GPA genius, needs to get her facts straight. How sad. I said it after the interview. I said it after she testified. How sad. And how sad for her attorney. On the Steve Malzberg Show.